Few days ago, the NUL has announced Operation Handwash, which is their response to COVID-19. We spoke to David Jackson, head of strategy at the NUL, about the whole project. Here's the full interview.
Hi, I'm David Jackson, and I'm the head of strategy at the NUL, which means my role is primarily to play a support role. I'm trying to make the team sort of a little bit more informed about what the users are doing, what players want, improve our decision making, make us a little bit more professional so that we can provide a better service to the community.
So, Operation Handwash, that's your response to COVID-19. First of all, why Operation Handwash? I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory, but is there a deeper story behind it?
Yeah, I really wish there was a great story behind this. It's much more like, I don't know if you ever heard with the Monkey Island series how the character in that ended up being called Guybrush purely because he was Guy and it was a brush file, and it was basically like that. We spent a little while trying to come up with just something we could call it internally, and eventually the time we spent thinking about that was probably taking more time than the activities we were planning. So we said at some point somebody said Operation Handwash will be the code name, and we'll just roll with that until we come up with something better. Then when it came to the announcement, we said, should we just stick with this? and that's basically how it happened.
One thing I really want to say is I absolutely love the logo.
Shout out to Tasha for that. She's done a really great job.
Everyone was incredibly excited about the NUL happening in Insomnia this year, the NUL live event. Unfortunately, this isn't happening any longer. Do you have any specific plans for the finals, the whole week of finals?
I would say it's going to be as... How do I put it? Yeah, it's going to be a live event broadcast on Twitch with some of the best casters in the student sphere out there, and that's where the focus will be on just making the stream just as good as possible. There are some logistical challenges that will always come with running an exclusively online final. So when you're live, you don't have to worry about people lying about who's actually playing. So there are some challenges that we've had to address in that respect. But the real priority was, how do we put these on at a time when people are going to watch and in a way that is going to be sort of exciting and high quality? And I think that's where we're going to be. I think it's I'm really looking forward to seeing it, and I'm really looking forward to finding out over the next couple of weeks how people have enjoyed the tournaments as a whole. I think it's a good opportunity for us to reflect back on what have we done right over the course of the tournaments, what more could we be doing. So everybody, and this is my pet project, I do a lot of surveys. If you get a survey at some point from the NUL, it's going to have come from me, and everybody who has played, I'd really encourage to keep an eye out for that. It'll come out probably just before the finals when the interest is high, and please do fill that out because we do take serious attention to take attention on it.
So a lot of people are incredibly excited about the new upcoming Minecraft server. I know I'm definitely excited, and a lot of Roehampton students are as well. Do you have any amazing events happening or any big building projects?
So I'm also really super excited about this, and every time I talk to Centricity about what's been put together here, I'm amazed. So from what he's told me, the server is it basically, you've got the home, sort of like the home server, where you'll have seen on some of the pictures we put out, there's the castle in the middle with the instructions and various plots of land. And the idea behind those plots is that students are able to form teams and basically reserve a slot that's theirs that they can then build on, and is obviously saved in a persistent server. And that team may be sort of across different universities. You may put together a specific university area and sort of make it themed in that way. And the idea is that from a building perspective, you've got to go out into the wilderness to get the equipment that you need or the materials you need in order to build something cool. There's also a trading system in place. So there's a marketplace where either you can go to a NUL moderator in order to get cool equipment or things like that to help you, or you can trade amongst yourselves as well. So there'll be like bartering, there'll be a PvP element. I think I'm going to have my own stall where if you do something, if you answer a survey question for me, I'll probably give you something made of diamond. There's just so much stuff that's going to go on in there, and that's just like the day to day. In addition to that, you've got the challenges that are going to be set every week as well, where there's going to be prizes and things like that. So there's just so much going on. And there isn't a limitation on, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a limitation on people joining. From the map you'll have seen in the pictures where you've got these plots, that, as far as I'm aware, does extend out into the infinite. So we can have as many as we want. So I'm really hoping for a bustling community. The other thing I would add is we're still looking for moderators. If people go to the Discord, they can sign up for that. And in addition to that, so the way it works is that you can only register a plot if you're a student. But if non-students are also allowed to jump in as part of a team, because our logic was people are going to be going back home, they may be back with their home friends, you might not be at university with them, and that's absolutely fine. But it has to be a student who's claimed the plot, because it just keeps it under a bit more control, because we know what people can get up to in Minecraft.
Operation Handwash seems to have a really strong focus towards social gaming. Is this to build communities and get people playing together while they're, self-isolating?
Yeah, exactly. The idea really was we're going to be doing a bunch of competitive activities, as I think we'll hopefully go on to talk about. But we wanted to have something where there was no real pressure. And there's a lot of us who, for whatever reason, maybe on a Friday night are thinking, what else? I haven't got anything else to do. Like, I'm stuck at home. Yeah, and I want to get together with other people who have shared interests. And we just wanted to try and facilitate that in as sort of relaxed a way as possible. So there's going to be some organization to that where we've got a sort of a game normally penciled in for that each week, so there'll be a bit of a focus to it, and we'll be around helping to facilitate that. So I think the first week is going to be tabletop sim, because it's super popular. But we're sort of ready to be steered by the community on a lot of these things. Like if a bunch of people were to show up and say they wanted to try something else, or let's say loads of people filled out the survey and said I want to do this game instead, and there was just something that's massively popular, then that's something that we'll also do. So for example, actually from the survey results we've seen so far, Jackbox is super popular. So it'd probably be reasonable to expect that at some point we're going to fit Jackbox into one of those Fridays. And I think, to be honest, I think it's probably going to be my role to moderate that, and I'm honestly terrified of what might come out of that. But I'm sure it'll be fun.
All of the social elements sound absolutely amazing, but you also have an offering for people who are interested in the competitive side of it. Is that correct? So you have the regional rumble and the weekly cups. Can you tell us a bit more about those?
Yeah, sure. So they were created for a few different reasons. So the Society Regional Rumble, which I'll start with, we've had a lot of societies approach us saying we were going to run our varsities and either they've been cancelled or we were going to do it online anyway. Is there any way you can support that? And we wanted to have a tournament that went on for a few weeks where we could support that, but also add a little something extra to it. And so we had this idea of what we call the regional rumble, which is the first round being largely universities being paired with their varsity partners, and then going on to represent their regions, going on to the national level, for bragging rights and also money. So the way that's working is that people will go through their societies. We're expecting people to be holding society tryouts. The main difference between this and a varsity format is that in varsity, obviously, you across the multiple events, you'd accumulate points. But we were conscious that things have changed. There may be university or societies that aren't able to put out a team in every single game. And so we didn't want that to stop people from being involved or sort of, screw a team over, basically, if they weren't able to put a team out. So if you look at it this way, it's effectively a bunch of tournaments being run in parallel between the same teams in different games, but they're separate tournaments.
Yes, and what about the weekly cups?
The idea behind those was we know that with our regular season, you can join at any time, but in terms of winning prizes or things like that, you really need to join it at the start and then stick with it. And for the purposes of Operation Handwash, we thought let's try out actually just every week. It's a standalone tournament. If you want to play Overwatch on a Monday, you can come. It's a one night thing, and then you don't have to play next week, or you can. It's up to you. So all of those, I think most of those are on the same night that they were on in the regular season. So if you'd already carved out Mondays for Overwatch, you can keep doing that. Wednesday is more of like a Riot day. Tuesday CS:GO, Thursday Siege, and so that's just no long-term commitment. Just come if you're around that day and you want to play, you come and play. And that it was a little bit more. So during the weekdays, you've got the sort of more inclusive events where you can just show up, and then on Saturday you've got the more sort of serious competition where you can all watch and cheer on your team.
It sounds like you have both the social and the competitive side of it covered, but you're not really stopping there, are you? You're also hosting a 24-hour charity stream. Is there anything that us at Roehampton or any other societies can help you with, besides actually donating money towards the cause?
Absolutely. As you can imagine, 24 hours is a long time to fill. And it's actually our first 24-hour live stream, as far as I'm aware. I think last year we did one for freshers where that was for quite a long period, but 24 hours you got to fill. So we're in the process of reaching out to different partners who can help us to put together a really good 24 hours worth of stuff. We'll be speaking to you guys very soon and others about what we can, what kind of content we can put out on that.
So one big question that I personally have, and I know quite a lot of other students really want to know, is what's the situation with alumni students? Are they allowed to join the Minecraft server, the weekly cups, anything like that?
Sure. I'm glad you asked, because this is something that we talk about a lot, because there is a real community. I think that there have been so many times where we've had conversations with teams that have graduated and they say, oh, we wish we had some way of getting involved. And for example, we have occasionally allowed exceptions. So for example, when I can sneak it under the radar, so for example, when we did our PUBG tournament a couple of weeks ago, we said, okay, alumni can sneak in. The challenge we have is how do we integrate that community while still maintaining the competitive integrity of the tournaments we do. Because if you sort of dilute it too much by allowing alumni in, then do you still have the sense of community around what it is that we're doing? So, but that is something that we're actively thinking about. Obviously, with Minecraft, there's absolutely no problem with alumni coming into that as long as there's a student reserving the plot. I think we're still working it out with our tournament activities, how we do that. It may be that we try that during Operation Handwash, where we'll run a tournament such as on Sundays, where we're doing cups, where it's a different game every week. We're letting the community sort of decide, hopefully, what we do. That might be when we say it's a one-off, alumni can come and let's see how it goes. And I think that was really what drove a lot of Operation Handwash as well, which is we really wanted to do something for the community. And we also really wanted to learn more about what do people like to play, what activities do people like to do. And we've already started learning quite a lot, and we'll see how it goes. But the alumni thing is really important to us.
We're really excited about everything essentially you're talking about. And main question is, how long is Operation Handwash gonna last? Is it just for a few weeks, few months until the self-isolation ends, or is it up until the summer? Do you have any timelines?
So we have a provisional schedule out until, an internal one out until probably mid-May. Well, I'd say end of May, mid-June. But the idea is we've announced the events up until, I'd say, roughly May, end of April, a couple of weeks into April, because we think that things might change over time. And what I mean by that is, the community might, some stuff might work, some stuff might don't work. The community may feed back to us and say, we want to try this. So we can change. The schedule's pretty modular, actually. So you can tweak it as we go. And part of that was also because we don't know how long the lockdown is going to go on for. And we obviously have our ideas for what summer might look like. We have our ideas for what the winter term might look like. But realistically, we don't know. And so the way the schedule is currently lined up, we will announce things as we go. And people should try and keep a lookout for further announcements. I think we'll probably try and do weekly if we can on this is what's coming up this week. This is how you can sign up for that. But the plan is we continue with this sort of thing for the foreseeable, and we see how the situation evolves in relation to COVID.
Well, thank you very much, David, for joining us today. Is there anything else you want to say to people? Any surveys you'd like them to fill in?
There will always be surveys that I'm running that I will sign up for. And people can find that if they go to our announcement, either in Discord or the blog post. There is a link to the survey there. We're still collecting data on that, and it's all really, really helpful. We've had about nearly 800 people who've responded to that so far, and the data has been incredibly helpful. But I think mostly all I just say is we would be nowhere on this if it wasn't for the community. These events aren't anything if there aren't players, if there aren't students, if there aren't people like you guys who are backing this. So just thank you to everybody for taking part, getting involved, whether it's doing a survey or watching the stream. Any aspect of that I think really helps to sort of support the community and bring it together at a time when it's really needed. That's what we're trying to contribute, just to be a platform for that. But really, the platform is occupied by the players and you guys and all of that. So that just thank you, I think, is the main thing.
Right. Thank you so much, David, for joining us, and thank you for anyone who watched the video all the way until the end. If you would like to find out more, the links to surveys, also the link to the blog post, is everything in the description. And if you want to get any more information, just go on Nil Twitter and Discord servers, and you'll find all of the information there. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.